Okay, here's part 2. So now that we've done parabolas that are vertical, so y minus k equals ax minus h squared, all right? This time let's look at horizontal parabolas. Now horizontal parabolas are of the form x minus h equals a y minus k squared. So the trick to remember that this is a horizontal one is that y term is squared, okay? Remember, parabolas only have one squared term. So if the x term is squared, then it's a vertical parabola. If the y term is squared, then it's a horizontal parabola. Okay? So let's look at the different formulas that go with the horizontal parabolas here. Okay, so my vertex is the same. It's h comma k. The difference is where they come from. So this time your h will be attached to your x and won't be squared, and your y will be attached to your k will be attached to your y and will be squared. Okay, so just remember that h goes with x, y goes with k. So if you cover up the x term, okay, if you cover it up and you're left with y minus k, then that's the one you have. But if you cover up the entire term a times y minus k squared, and you see that you have x and this number left over, that's your h. So just make sure they're attached to each other, okay? And then our focus is h plus c comma k. Our directrix is x equals h minus c, and our axis of symmetry is the y-coordinate of our vertex. Okay, the other things to remember is that a has to be equal to 1 over 4c, and c is the distance from focus to vertex, and vertex to directrix. Those two don't change no matter whether you have a horizontal or a vertical parabola. They're exactly the same, always, okay? Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. So let's say we are given the equation of the parabola, and it says x minus h is equal to a y minus k squared, okay? So first thing is first, we want to find our vertex. Vertex is, as we normally do, we just read it off, so h, k. And then we want to find the rest. But in order to find focus and directrix, we need to find c, right? Because focus is h plus c comma k in this time, because the x-coordinate is going to change. And then directrix is x equals h minus c. So what we need to find is find c. But we remember that a is equal to 1 over 4c. So we set a equal to 1 over 4c, solve for c, and then plug in to formulas for focus and directrix, okay? And then axis symmetry is just reading off the y-coordinate of the vertex, okay? And that's how you find it given the equation. Let's look at if you're given the vertex and the focus and you want to find the equation of the parabola. Now, the vertex and the focus. So this time, how do you tell if it's a horizontal parabola? Well, if the y-coordinates are the same, okay, so 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, so on. If the y-coordinates are the same, that means you have a horizontal parabola. So y-coordinate of vertex and focus are same, then you have a x minus h equals a y minus k squared parabola. Okay, so once you determine which parabola you have, the next thing you need to figure out is, we know what h and k are in our parabola. What we need to find is a, right? Now, a can be found using the equation 1 over 4c. So we need to solve for c to find a to complete our equation. So just like in the previous video, what we're going to do is we're going to set h plus c equal to the x-coordinate of our focus, because that has to be equal to h plus c according to the formula up there. And so once we've set it equal to the x-coordinate of our focus and plugged in h from our vertex, we can find c by solving. And then we plug c into a equals 1 over 4c, and we get our a. So we then plug in vertex and a into x minus h equals a y minus k squared. Now let's see what happens when you're given the vertex and the directrix. So the nice thing about directrix is that if your directrix is x equals some number, then you know you have a x equals parabola. So these match, okay? So then once you've determined you have an x parabola, or a horizontal one, we can plug in our h and our k from our vertex, and the only thing we're missing at this point is the a. So just like with the previous slide, we need to find a to complete our equation. So we know that a is equal to 1 over 4c. So the thing we're really missing is the c. Now, in order to find c, we set our directrix line, so x value of directrix equal to h minus c, plug in h from our vertex, and solve for c. Once we have c, oh my God, we plug it into a equals 1 over 4c and solve for a. Then we plug in our a into x minus h equals a y minus k quantity squared, as well as the vertex. And then we have our equation. So lastly, let's say we're given our focus and our directrix, but no vertex, okay? So the way to figure out our parabola equation is to remind ourselves that the parabola is all set of points equidistant from the focus and the directrix, okay? So as you can see by my drawing, there's a distance c between the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix, and this applies this also means then that if I picked any other point on the directrix and it gave me a point on the parabola, that had to be the same distance as the distance from the focus to the parabola. So if I pick a random point on the parabola, I can find distance between that point and the focus and that point and the directrix. And since the distance between PF and PD have to be equal, I can set PF equal to PD and find the equation of the parabola this way. Okay, so once I set PF equal to PD, I do distance formula and solve, and again, I have to get the equation of the parabola out. If I get something other than the equation, so a number, a value, something, if I do not get a parabola equation out, something went wrong. It has to be the equation of a parabola coming from this. And that's how you find it given the vertex, given the focus and the directrix, but no vertex. So the last thing we want to look at is graphing a horizontal parabola. First things first is that you need to know that if A is less than 0 in this case, your parabola opens to the left. And if A is greater than 0, parabola opens right. Okay? Now, once you've determined which direction it's going to open, first thing you got to do is plot/draw directrix, axis, focus, and vertex. So let's say this is my axis, focus, vertex, directrix. Okay? And then, just like with the y parabola, the easiest way to really determine to see if you did your A correctly is to do a t-chart. So you would pick values of x and y, so -1, 0, and 1, or -2, 0, and 2, or 3, 0, 4, or whatever. It's really up to you. And then get some values. And then once you have those values, you plot them. And you would graph. Okay? And that's it.